Namaskar. Today, today I'm going to share some of my lessons learned from my life. This presentation I had made for my students who had gathered on 30th March to celebrate my superannuation, to spend a day together, and to wish me best. In fact, I have learned so much from them. I have gained so much for the department, for the institute, and for the country from these students that no words are enough to thank them. But uh, while saying a big thank you from heart, I also thought that I will look back and share some of my memories and lessons learned from them or from my journey in medical genetics. The sharing memories means photographs. So there are many of photographs of my students and many events with them, some of the patients. And also I took this opportunity to share my photography interest and photographs of various our travels and nature I have included. The first thing I want to tell, and many people don't know yet, that in my email it's Shubha Rao Fadke, and the Rao is my part of my middle surname and not the R which represents middle name of mine, which is Shubha Rajendra Fadke. Rajendra is my husband, Raju, whom we call. So while talking about my life, the most important thing I always remember and realize that being a woman has been an important part of all my personal and life as well as career. We four sisters were brought up with so much of freedom and independence, which probably current generation girls also may not have. And that gave us strength of mind and to think for ourselves and take our own decisions. So I really don't know what gender equality means really. But for me, it is the power of being woman, the right to decide yourself. Of course, the being able to be a mother and care for children is a really an important responsibility given to us by husband and the family and the God, and it's not the burden. So in that process, sometimes many of us give priority to the family and sometimes break in career for a few years we had to take. But I think if that is your own decision and that helps us to trust yourself, give the strength to trust yourself, and that is the power of being woman. From my experience, I have realized that some breaks in between the career did not make much difference because as the children grow up, then you have many more decades for your own self and your own career. So these are powerful, beautiful women who worked with me for 3.5 decades. And from them also, I really realized that how strong women can be. And this picture shows my strength to face the knife going through the neck, and the juggler said that he will cut my neck, and I was not afraid. So that is the strength which we get over years. As I said, the students' pictures are there, many of them here you can see, and many of them were women students, and they helped me to learn. So, in modern medicine, especially a subject like medical genetics, which is evolving every day, continued education is very, very important. And the students are important for our own education, because if we want to teach them, we need to get up to date and be on our toes. And secondly, they themselves being intelligent, they learn so fast and many times teach you a lot. So I really thank all the students for being my teacher, and the such type of teaching and learning I always say is bidirectional. The other important way is reading and writing. So our publication genetic clinics, which we started in 2009, and this was the launch of that first issue, where we also held a meeting of alumni and great to get together. So this publication also helped me a lot in my improving reading and writing skills, and also spreading the knowledge of medical genetics to all clinicians in the country. So going back to the memories, these are reflections from my memory, and some of them, sometimes the memory is not that strong, but the photographs are really important ways to remember the whole things. When we think of memories, the first we remember of old days, because they bring the youthfulness in you to your back to you. And that time they were the days of black and white photographs. But soon after, I think, my marriage, immediately the colored photography became available. And as we keep on going with the younger generation, who is bright and warm, so working with them, we learned everything, and the colored photography also came to my help. And this probably is one of the last black and white photographs of ours on the Sihagarh in Pune. As I said, many of these memories of students in the department, and later on they became head of the departments in different places in the country. And we used to meet again at conferences. And this photograph on the left really shows me with my students, who were by that time had got jobs as medical geneticist, and Ratna being the first one to get a job as medical geneticist. And here in this conference, somebody said me that, Madam, see, everywhere we can see your students. And I realized that what I have achieved is to get so many young students, people as my students, and they got trained by myself. But of course, everybody knows they learn much more than what they learned after leaving the HGPJ. Whatever they had learned during 3 years was probably just an introduction, and then many things they have learned of their own. Uh, and these people kept on meeting again and again. Some new friends from other of Indian origin, or other people who are well-wishers of Indian medical genetics. They also became our friends, and we kept on learning new things over years. The gap, what we were reading in journals and what we were doing, was a very big gap initially, but gradually the gap decreased, and we also started doing microarray, exome sequencing, everything. So if you can see, all of them are looking young with lot of hair, and now as we age, so aging is a normal process. And I realized that if we would have stood still, time would have stood still, we would have been young still, but then we would have stuck at the karyotype and have not reached all these genome sequencing. I landed in genetics just by chance. But as a stopgap arrangement, I was in genetics to look for a job as a pediatrician. But when I got admission in a DM as a first student, there was the future was very foggy. We didn't know what would happen on this uncharted path. But it didn't take me a minute to decide that I would take up medical genetics as a career and not as take a job as a pediatrician, which I got in I had got in HGPGI. So the message is Dil ki suno. If you feel your heart says, then you pursue what your heart says. And in this journey, many young people, bright and very differently wired people, joined my journey, and they were bright and they wanted to do something very, very different. So these different people joined me, and you can see they uh, pursued and improved medical genetics in India, and many of them are really now very, very well known at the national and international level. This all was possible because of vision of late Dr. S.S. Agrawal, who was my teacher in genetics. And you can see when we started, they were, say, he has listed about 30 skeletal dysplasias and these notes in his beautiful writing. So we could photocopy, but we did not have laptops at our disposable. So a lot of things handwritten. And I learned this type of systematic working from S.S. Agrawal sir. His algorithmic approach, as well as really probably it suited my temperament as well, that unless something is unknown, one we had to keep on finding the diagnosis, the correctness of diagnosis, what information is lacking in our decision making. So the perseverance for getting a correct knowledge through library initially, and then later on, now everybody has lot of web-based resources available. But that desire to be perfect in the knowledge, we probably both had, and then it helped my learning as well. So looking back, I remember that getting karyotypes banding was difficult, Sanger sequencing was impossible. But now that those days full of frustrations and because of failures, I can just laugh at them when I look back and realize that on those failures, in these failures, there were hidden challenges, and those setbacks were hidden opportunities and steps for upward growth. Of course, you have to really be persistent and not leave the subject because of failures. In this process, my small 3 months in Seattle in 1994 were very important. And Dr. George Martin and Julie, they treated me like their daughter and took me everywhere, including to the dinner at Dr. Motlsky's house. That was an eye opener. Those 3 months were an eye opener for me, and I could see the system of working in USA, their SOPs and their systematic way, and had also great opportunities like listening to Dr. Francis Collins, a chief of Human Genome Project, from his own mouth, telling that how he coined word positional cloning for identification of gene, and he changed the word reverse genetics, replaced it with positional cloning. So those dream-like 3 years, they really influenced my career as a medical geneticist. In that process, there also, that time I had a non-digital camera, but with that small $3,000, I could really travel and take buses and see various people in and around Seattle, including Vancouver. But most important is I realized that how important is this short-term observership, which open your eyes, and the same way over years, every time I find an opportunity to go to the different countries for conferences, staying a few days later on or a week will really add on to learning new techniques, and as well as making new connections with the people all around the world. After that, again, there were some dark, depressing years because of not getting the job. But in that process, I did some unrelated jobs, ultrasonography job, as well as tried to read some philosophy, Indian philosophy, to keep my morale high and not to become really pathologically depressed. So all these things keep on adding to your strength, and then probably that gave me a strength that nothing, if fails, if nothing is working, I would just keep cool. Yes, wait, and we'll see something. So such experiences and such setbacks really bring strength to your mind, and I think are essential at some point of career in everybody's life. Coming my entry into fetal medicine, which is a quite unusual thing. A medical geneticist with pediatric background doing ultrasonography and fetal diagnosis by amniocentesis is a very, very unusual thing. But that was just because of circumstances. There were no, as I said, there were no cytogeneticists, so I started working in the lab. There were no fetal medicine specialists, so I started doing ultrasonography and then invasive testing and so many things. So that initially was quite taxing, but it really helped to establish these prenatal diagnosis testing, because when I joined in 89, the whole objective of my career was to establish prenatal diagnosis for Down syndrome, thalassemia, and hemophilia, and maybe spinal muscular atrophy. So there we needed lab, there we needed invasive testing, there we needed ultrasound guided procedures. So I had to learn all of them and try to do of my own. And but I really enjoyed, because ultrasonography is a different type of eyes in the brain. So my with my interest in drawing size shapes, I started liking or enjoying these deciphering two-dimensional images into three-dimensional images in the brain. And this really, and especially because I see the children with various structural malformations and have a knowledge of those multiple malformation syndromes. Doing prenatal ultrasonography gave me a really an added some advantage. And I also, as I said, I really enjoyed those ultrasonography language. So with this fetal medicine specialty, we incorporated, because it is, I think, so we can say 30 to 40% of medical genetics practice. And this really helped my students to go back to their practice after DM with 100% understanding of all clinical genetics, laboratory genetics, as well as fetal medicine. I also, because I have seen all these aspects, patient, mother, fetus, and then if there is some abnormality and they terminate, we also do fetal autopsy. So I also got experience of getting understanding of the whole 360-degree view of the process of which is called as fetal diagnosis. Uh, So all, as I said again, all these, the most important, probably I would say, what I had something different is perseverance. So we really wanted to do everything. So I kept on doing till it happens, and the improvement does happen. But you have to really wait and keep on pursuing till it happens. So I have like always list of things to do myself. And as I nagged students, I used to nag myself as well, and really believe that this effort is the greatest strength, and there is nothing greater than the effort. Of course, in spite of these efforts, sometimes some things don't work, and probably destiny also has to be with you when you are doing the efforts. This slide is from one of my talks on hemophilia, and I kept this same day, like how the architecture of uh, iconic buildings for Lucknow, from Imambada to Ambedkar Smarak, have changed, and now metro has come in. The treatment of hemophilia over last 3 decades had changed. We treated the patients with plasma and cryoprecipitate, then very scanty coagulation factors, and then government support for the coagulation factors. And now we have long-acting therapies like one injection once a month, and also not in India, not routinely available, but gene therapy is become approved for treatment in other countries, and also India also has been successful in doing gene therapy in some patients in the research basis. So the thing is that how the thing change over years, and then because of this change the outcome of treatments had changed. Now the what I said, the whole objective was to do prenatal diagnosis or thalassemia and to eradicate thalassemia from the country. But now we know that the outcomes and these treatments are so better. The outcomes are very good. Even children with Down syndrome, they are doing so good and bringing satisfaction to their parents because of their available opportunities, trainings, and so on, that we have to change our perspective toward diseases and approach towards diseases. These three boys, three siblings, this is an iconic picture which brings very sad memories to my heart about their lack of care, and then how they succumb to their disease over years. While as compared to these three sisters, they are doing so well in their life and in spite of their disease in thalassemia. And this is thanks to the available changes in the treatment, government support for these therapies, and these success therapies of thalassemia and hemophilia. You cannot identify they are the patients. They are successful entrepreneurs, they are successful lawyers, and they are successful businessmen, and travel all over the country and lot of. So these things really make us wonder whether really to look for population based screening, identify all carriers, and terminating children with thalassemia major by for primary prevention, whether that is really indicated or not. The pictures on the right side are the snapshots on of one hemophilia day in my WhatsApp. We Because of COVID we couldn't celebrate hemophilia day, but I had the kept like that whole day for the families and children with hemophilia, and their WhatsApp messages brought warmth to my mind and pleasure smiles to my face. All of them were talking very positively. Their sisters and mothers, I wanted them to speak about themselves, and it was a really fun-filled day. So, a lot of such patient stories and their communication with patients helps us to understand human mind, and also their triumph over their diseases, their grit, that all helps us to be better human beings, and also realize that our promotions, our small things, how small they are as compared to their struggle for the life. So as a human being, we really try to grow along with these patients and families. We learn from their coping skills and their life struggles. uh, this is again another like for in December, I asked all children to make drawings during their ward day admission, and we had hundreds of New Year cards which brought decorated the walls and really were happy. So all these are our connections, heart to heart connections with the patient and families. It's while doing medicine and patient care, we want to heal everybody, but the priority is also the human being in the patient. It's not only his illness or her illness, but we have to see that patient as a whole human being, and then we have to really treat the patient scientifically. So look at And simultaneously, as I said, I like art, and then I keep on seeing the art in everything or adding art in my presentation. So look for art in the science. Don't forget science of medicine. Care for human in the patient, and never ignore your conscience. So this is a very, very important message for all doctors, especially at younger age. For such type of establishment of a new specialty, probably the visionary was late Dr. S.S. Agrawal, but his distant vision and then my proactiveness, trying to do whatever is needed rather than waiting. So some distant vision is very needed in addition to perseverance. So patience, proactiveness, perseverance, all these are qualities which are told that these are the very necessary, but I realized probably I had some of them, and that really helped me to establish the department. And these one of the activities of the departments is a 15-day course. For it's an introductory course in medical genetics, and 2000 in year 2000 we started. So some of the first batch students are also in my contact, and over 21 years we did 21 courses, and through that trained hundreds of more than 800, 900 clinicians at various stages of their lives in the career in India and from different corners of the country. So this course was really a challenge, because in 2000 nobody was interested in joining the course, though ICMR had given us some funds. But our plan of the program, teaching commitment, passionate, interactive sessions, and trial. So all these made it so popular that last year we conducted 21st course, and now we are getting more than 50 people every time, and it becomes very difficult to adjust to them. So again, what I say is that looking back, there were difficulties, but as I said, all the hindrances probably could be cleared with time and with perseverance. In our specialty, many patients are of a very, very unique type, very, very rare. So, like I want to photograph each bird, or many other bird watchers do the same and get all the photographs of every time you see a bird or new view or new bird. Same way, each patient is quite unique. We learn from them, and many times it's very important to document rarity of the findings, rare disorders as case reports. And that helped me to learn about genetics, and getting a case report published in American Journal of Medical Genetics was a great success, because that's how I could understand that my diagnosis is correct and my thought process is correct. So this, hence I kept on publishing, and has more than 300 publications. And one day, our well-wisher friend from USA, Dr. Carey, because of my case reports, he started mailing me, and then we became good friends. He visited our department and gave a talk how important is case report for the growth of science. And many of these case reports, which I had reported as novel syndromes, some of them were in our touch, and I had to sometimes relocate them and find out. And in some of the cases of these three these three families, each with a different type of malformation syndrome with of digits, we could identify a new causative gene for them. So what we reported a novel syndrome in 1999, we could identify the causative gene after 15-20 years for that particular syndrome, thanks to the next generation sequencing era. So all this type of process of learning, that also helps teaching. And with, as I said, we kept on inviting various geneticists from all over the world, and some of them were visited our department, and it was really honor to listen from them in our seminar room. And the students also, we can pass on the excitement to the students. And this is the partly advantage of not changing the jobs for decades. I was there for last 35 years, and then I could keep a track of many patients from their infancy to their adulthood. In this process, I'm little different and probably pursued some things which were quite aberrant, but in the process, many similar type of people keep on joining, and my uh, aberrant type of requests to make new mementos and different type of things for the conferences, souvenirs. So here it is, Mr. Vinay, who had made a very interesting mementos for our conferences. So all these really add to flavor to your conference, as well as your own creativeness probably get some way out. So all this working at this point of time, I really feel satisfied of about the journey, and without any um, sadness or any thing bitterness about the all those 35 years. They have given me science, medicine, as well as my desired travel bug in me got satisfied because of many international travels for the conferences, and then later as a hobby. So again, these all international friends, they have taught us from distance, and sometimes they have come to India and taught us in our conferences. So our annual conference of Indian Academy of Medical Genetics, of which I am a founder president, are really very, very impressive faculty members from all over the world. So as I said, my hobby is traveling. I did not know while 35 years ago that I would enjoy travel so much. Initially, we used to travel with so little money from Trivandrum to Kanyakumari in rupees 200 over a weekend. But over years, probably lot of travel thanks to conferences, international conferences supported by our institute HGPGI, then Dr. Fadke's 1 year in UK, which gave us a time to scan all UK from north to west, north to south, and east to west, as well as many other personal travels. Really, really helped. And then it also gave me an opportunity to photograph the nature as well as many other things. Uh, this picture in the corner. So I always like a very well-known or less-known artist as well as. So this is picture and book of London drawings by a tribal artist, Mr. Bhajju Sham. And for him in his village, time is only the kukuduku. And then that's how he perceived the clock tower in the London, and this is the cover. So, say many interesting things you keep in your memory. Um, so these are some of the photographs of the blue sky in the London, and the some books, some journeys. I really got hard copies printed in the form of coffee table books, and my friends in London said that they had not also seen some of the views which I had photographed. And this is the other blue sky from my home during the period of COVID time, and that COVID time gave me a lot of time for photographing birds from my veranda, as well as watching the various blue colors of the sky, as well as thinking to myself, as everyone probably was doing during that period. And that made me realize that, again, if you don't go ahead, the world will go ahead and you will lag behind. So it's very important to keep on going ahead. And in this journey, the whole big department of ours, with so many student, technicians, administrative, everybody has contributed greatly to my life and my career. And this is the department's vision, which we worded sometime later during last 4 5 years ago, but this was the vision to provide best and most advanced diagnostic and care to every genetic disorders, however rare. So this is what I have been trying to do, and I tried to do and succeeded to some extent. Of course, I know a lot of things still need to be done, a lot of things still I need to learn and improve upon. But whatever is there, as I said, it's very satisfying. The in the process, or like as I said, prenatal diagnosis is a very important part of our medical genetics, and it has lot of issues is counseling other than the technical and medical, ethical, psychological, social, and many times I talk about these issues to my young friends, students, and they realize they also perceive those emotions correctly. And this is a play written by Dr. Soumya and acted by other actors, which depicts the various issues related to desire to have a perfectly nice, perfect child without any illness. That probably technology is sort of propagating that we can guarantee that you will do so many tests and your child will be perfectly healthy. But of course, this is not possible, and we need to really think um, how think and approach this in a balanced way, because what said in 1866 about pea plants, we know that these monogenic or single gene disorders, now we can do marvels by diagnosing them by next generation sequencing. But also, when we sequence number of normal people, we realize that some of them also have some disease causing DNA changes, but no diseases. So lot of things still we don't know why this happened, how this happened. So the um, unrealistic hope to be given to the patients that do all tests and look for all diseases in the fetus in the womb probably is not that easy, and it's not really that correct, because now we know that many variations, they will not lead to diseases. So just testing a DNA of a baby without any family history or without any abnormality in the fetus may have, you may terminate some normal babies, and this is really frightening. So we as the leaders of society, educated medical geneticists, we need to channelize the society in right direction and see that other knowledgeable people, social scientists, teachers, everybody knows the right thing and makes right decisions for the society to keep them on right track, rather than the marketing tools of the money makers guide our falsely assure the patients and families and make them do costly tests. So some things really a balance has to be done, and this is a major task for our medical geneticist in the current next decade. So this is all about genetics, but life is a matter of balance. You need the same some time for friends, and then the cooking and family, everything. So I tried to enjoy some of these activities in our HGPGI, and which gave me a lot of friends. Even in this, after 30 years of age, when I landed there, we still got many good friends, and they made my life very colorful. There are lots of photos in the laptop and memories in the mind, and there is probably one for each friend. So we have to give time to friends, patients, and of course the family. Uh, so at this uh, evening of the life, we really watch the setting sun, but with really positive thoughts. And uh, though I say that we are grown older, but still I want a window seat in the aeroplane to watch the earth from above. So everybody should keep the child in the mind, still alive, keep the child in the mind. Sometimes one gets to see dams beautiful, and sometimes you get to see lotus temple from above. So just keep on watching. And these travels are really the many places what we called are modern pilgrimages, like in Cambridge, Sanger Institute. So many of these are very, very precious uh, tours for me, and as good as going to Gangotri, Yamunotri. So in the process, keep on looking at the bright and beautiful so that you don't feel depressed sometimes, because always there will be occasions and situations which will feel depressed. But looking at bright and beautiful will take care of keep your mind healthy and happy. So on this process of medical genetics in India, I have done a bit of my contribution. Was happy to get Dr. I.C. Verma Researcher Award with his own hands. But equally important was his comment on WhatsApp, which is very, very precious for me. His words of appreciation are very important. And uh, with this, so many other friends I couldn't mention, but we have learned a lot of them, like Madhuri. And now, after retirement, I feel that we will be getting more time to relax, maybe cycling, traveling, and gardening, and so many other things, in addition to some bit of medical genetics. And probably more important is the family time with the grandson. So many of these pictures are rather than looking into my laptop, it was easy to look on the Facebook. So Facebook is a important for me for sharing the photographs. And these all photographs of birds, they are extremely rare occasions, and not that every time you go out and you get such a photograph with about 20 these Saras um, cranes. And these are just by luck, by chance. So don't wait for luck. Keep on working hard, and sometimes you will be lucky just because of serendipity, or because of patience, or because of some opportunity. As I said, genetic clinics is a is my child, and really getting improving over years. So I lived genetics, breathed genetics, and sometimes I even wear genetics and on the printed sari, like this you can see. So best wishes and blessings to all my students, patients, their families, whoever have contributed to my journey, and we'll keep on meeting. Thank you very much. So these are some of the rangolis which I used to make on the Diwali as well as Janmashtami. So as I said, uh, all these are for the blessings of the God, and I think Samam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati Nishesh Jadyapaha. Namaskar. So we'll miss Lucknow, either Imambada or our Sunday drives to Indira Barrage, and sometimes evenings at the Ambedkar Smarak. Thank you very much.